Hello everyone and welcome to this new video. In this video, I'm going to walk you through Amazon SageMaker Data Wrangler. So Amazon SageMaker Data Wrangler accelerates the process of data visualization, data cleaning, data transformation, and you can do all of that without writing a single line of code. At the end of the video, I'm going to show you a practical example in which we are going to deal with real-world data set and learn how to clean it, visualize it, perform feature engineering, and all of that, of course, without writing a single line of code. If you like this video, all I ask you to do is to please give it a like. That will help me out a lot with the YouTube algorithm. With that said, thank you. Let's go ahead and get started. So Amazon SageMaker Data Wrangler accelerates the process of data preparation, exploration, cleaning, visualization, and feature engineering. So here I have a couple of snapshots. So what you guys see is you can essentially import your data. And this data is what we call it the Titanic data set. Here we have a bunch of names of the people who were on board of the Titanic. We also have their age. We have the number of siblings on board. We also have their status, whether they survived or not. What you guys see here on the right-hand side, there are tons of transformation that could be performed. So you can, for example, perform feature engineering. You can clean up data sets. You can handle missing data. You can also handle outliers. You can also perform custom transform if you would like to do specific transformation, and you can also write your own custom code as well if you would like to. You can also here perform one-hot encoding. You can do scaling. You can do normalization. Many transformations that could be done with just a click of a button. What you could do as well is you can go ahead and actually perform data visualization too. Think of it, if you guys are familiar with Seaborn or Matplotlib, you can do all of that here without writing any code. You can just select the type of data visualization. For example, here I have histograms, and you should be able to see a histogram that looks like that as well. And please note that, again, at the end of the video, I'm going to walk you through a practical example in which we are going to grab a brand new data set and learn how to clean it, how to encode it, how to visualize it, and so on. Okay, so SageMaker Data Wrangler is cloud-based, and as I mentioned before, it does not require any coding. Data could be imported from many sources, such as S3, RedShift, and also SageMaker Feature Store. We can have the data in CSV format and also in database tables or Parquet format as well. And what's really powerful about SageMaker Data Wrangler is that it contains over 300 data transformations, such as one-hot encoding, normalization, if you want to do imputation, handling missing data, and so on. We can also perform data visualization, such as plotting bar charts, line charts, histograms, scatterplots, and that's what I really like actually about SageMaker Data Wrangler is you can develop your workflow, data workflow, again, without writing any code. And then you can go ahead and export that workflow in a form of a notebook. So you can essentially automate the entire pipeline for you in a form of code. So you can go ahead and create as well custom code if you would like to do so. And here I included a link to the documentation. So what you guys see here is Amazon SageMaker Data Wrangler. It's the fastest and easiest way to prepare data for machine learning. There is also a really nice video here if you wanted to check it out. And as I mentioned, Amazon SageMaker Data Wrangler kind of reduces the time to perform data aggregation, preparation of data for machine learning. You can do that, again, instead of doing it in a few weeks, you can do it in a couple of minutes. And you can also export the workflow as well and also perform feature engineering. You can do data visualization, data selection, exploration, and so on. All of that within a one single visual interface. And if you guys scroll to the bottom here, you should be able to see a couple of nice features. So you can prepare data for machine learning in a couple of minutes. You can also easily transform the data. As I mentioned, we have over 300 plus pre-configured data transformations available for you. You can also perform data visualization. If you guys wanted to click on this one, it can enlarge and can show you. You can plot, let's say, a histogram, for example. You can show here the number of people, let's say, who survived or not in the Titanic. If you scroll to the bottom, you can also diagnose and fix machine learning data preparation issues faster. And you can also automate the machine learning data preparation workflow and export that workflow in a form of a Jupyter notebook. And if you scroll to the bottom here, you will see a couple of customers and success stories. For example, Deloitte, this is again by Frank Farrell, again working at Deloitte. Amazon SageMaker Data Wrangler enables us to hit the ground running, to address data prep needs with a rich collection of transformation tools that accelerates the process of machine learning data preparation needed to take new products to market. And again, it accelerates the process. Instead of going there, writing code, trying to clean up the data, you can do all of this without writing a single line of code and by leveraging all the pre-configured data transformation tools available for you. So with that said, let's go ahead and jump into the AWS SageMaker Data Wrangler, and then I'm going to show you guys our quick demo. In this project, I'm going to provide you guys with a brand new data set, and that is going to be the cardiovascular disease data set. And I want you to use AWS Data Wrangler to perform the following task. Upload the data to S3, plot the histogram for the height column, plot the scatter plot between the height and weight, plot the correlation matrix between various features, drop the ID column, create a custom formula to convert age column from days to years, and I want you to round the age to the nearest integer. I want you to plot the histogram for the newly created age column, generate a summary table and list the average age values, sort the data frame according to the age column in an ascending order, generate a bias report for the cholesterol column, scale the weight, height, AP low and AP high using min-max scaler, export the workflow, and then finally I want you guys to execute the code and explore the generated CSV file. There's a lot of tasks to cover here, but again, we covered most of them. So let me walk you through the data. So if you guys go to the next slide, you should be able to see the various features that we have in the data. And basically the aim of this data set essentially is to detect the presence or absence of cardiovascular disease in person based on their given features. And basically here, the features are age, height, weight, gender, smoking. We also have the alcohol intake, their physical activity. We also have their blood pressure as well, and cholesterol level and glucose level as well. And if you guys wanted to read a little bit more about the data and the source of the data, I've included a link here to the cardiovascular disease data set available on Kaggle. So let's go ahead and get started. So first, I wanted to upload the data to S3. So I'm just going to click on buckets. I'm going to go and create a new bucket. I'm going to, let's say, give it a name. Let's call it cardio, for example, cardio, and let's say Wrangler, something like that. So I'm going to use Data Wrangler to analyze cardiovascular data. Keep everything as default. Click create bucket, and then I need to upload the data to my cardio Wrangler. So I'm just going to click on it, and then in the course package, you guys should be able to see that here I have the cardio information, right? So I can go ahead and just drag and drop that cardio CSV file to here. Here we go, looks great. I'm going to click upload, and that is going to upload my data to S3, and it's telling me that the upload succeeded, and here I have my cardio.csv uploaded to S3. I'm going to close that, and then I'm going to head back to my SageMaker Studio. If you guys recall, I need to go to here, which is SageMaker Data Wrangler. I'm going to click on Start Now, and then it will take a couple of minutes for Data Wrangler to start. But essentially, let me remind you what we need to achieve right now. Basically, what I wanted to achieve is the following. The final capstone project steps are as follows. I need to upload the data to S3. We have done that already. And then I need to, let's see the mouse here, and I need to afterwards plot the histogram for the height column, and then plot the scatter plot between the height and the weight, and then plot the correlation matrix between features and drop the ID column. So these are essentially the steps that I need to achieve. And again, it's taking, I would say, we're going to take maybe like approximately 2 minutes for this Data Wrangler to just get started. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause the video, and then I'm going to be back once the Data Wrangler here is launched. All right, so here we go. Now Amazon SageMaker Data Wrangler just got launched. Looks great. I'm going to click on Amazon S3, and then I'm going to navigate to my bucket, which is, I called it Cardio Wrangler. And then I'm gonna go ahead and click on the data. And what you guys notice here is I have all my features, as I mentioned. Here I have the patient ID. Here I have the age, the gender, the height, weight, and I have the blood pressure as well. I also have the cholesterol level and glucose level as well. And here I have the smoking habits, the alcohol intake, are they active or not, and whether they have cardiovascular disease or not. And if I'm happy with it, I'm just gonna say import, and that is going to import the data. And here it's telling me that it's validated 0 of 2 nodes, so basically it's showing 0 errors right now, but again, the data now is being imported, and it's telling me validation is complete, and I'm happy with it. Just click on done, looks great. The first step that I wanted to do is I wanted to go ahead and I wanted to plot the histogram for the height column. That would be the first step. To do that, I'm going to click plus, and then I'm going to say add analysis, and then I'm gonna select histogram. It's actually selected by default. Here I can call it anything I want really. I can call it, let's say, height data visualization, something like that. And I can go ahead and select here the height. And I'm just gonna leave the color as is and the facet by as is. Just click preview. And here we go. Now I have been able to plot the height, essentially distribution. And it looks like, a lot of people range between 160 and 170 centimeters, and it kind of tapers off once you reach like 190 centimeters and so on. All right, looks good. I'm gonna say back to all analysis again. Actually gonna say back to data, and maybe come here, say add analysis. And instead of histogram, I wanted to plot, the second one is to plot a scatter plot. And then I want to plot a scatter plot between the height and weight. So on the x-axis, I'm gonna plot the height. The y-axis, I'm gonna select the weight, and I'm gonna click preview. And here we go. What you guys see here is I have been able to, actually if you just do on your mouse here, just scroll in your cursor, you should be able to see that it's zoomed in view, which is pretty cool. And you can actually move as well the graph here. So you can see the relationship between the height and weight. And that's pretty good. The second one is I wanted to plot the correlation matrix. I'm just gonna come here, say feature correlation, and just keep everything as is, click preview. And it will take some time for it to run to just show me all the different correlations between all my various features. And it's taking some time for it to execute. Essentially, I should be able to see a correlation matrix similar to the correlation matrix that we had before when we plotted our original data set during the demo, if you guys recall. So here we go. Now you guys can see the correlation matrix. So there is a strong positive correlation between gender and height, for example, between height and gender, between cholesterol level and glucose level, for example. And there is like 0.45. Again, as you get closer to 1, that means you have a strong positive correlation. -1, that is strong negative or inverse correlation. There is as well relationship kind of between smoke and gender, and there is between alcohol and smoke, for example. Okay. Right, next, what I wanted to do, which is, let's go back to the questions. I wanted to drop the ID column. So I'm gonna go back to here, and then I'm going to select, basically click the plus, and then say add transform, because I wanted to transform the data right now. I'm going to select add step, and then I'm gonna go and say manage columns. And now I need to drop a certain column, and that column is going to be the ID column. And that's what I wanted to drop. So I'm just gonna say preview, and you guys will see that the ID column is gone. I'm happy with it. So now I need to click add to make sure that I have that drop column step added to my workflow. Next, what I wanted to do is I wanted to create a custom formula to convert days to years. And I also wanted to round the values to the nearest integer. So I'm just gonna click on add step. I'm going to select custom transform, and here I'm going to select Python and pandas. And here, if you guys recall, this table here is captured in a pandas data frame. We call it df, right? And that's what it's mentioned here. Table is available as a variable df, so you can just do all the magic within pandas just by using the pandas data frame df. So I'm going to say df, I'm going to open square bracket, and then I'm going to open quotations. And then I need to perform the transformation on the age column, right? So here I'm going to grab the age, and then I'm going to say equals to. I'm going to grab my df of age again. And don't forget, you need to write the 2 quotation marks. And then to convert from days to years, you need to just divide it by 365, right? I have 365 days in a year. And then I need to go ahead and round that. So I'm going to say df of, again, age. You guys can do it in one line of code. I just wanted to just do the basic stuff here. Okay, I'm going to come here and say round. And I wanted to round whatever I'm getting from the first line. So I'm going to overwrite my age, convert it from days to years, and then I'm going to round that data. So I'm going to say df, round that for me as well of age. And here we go. I'm going to close the parentheses. And let's go ahead and check it out. If you click preview, you guys should be able to see the custom transform. And here we go. Here I have the age right now, has been able to round it, and it looks pretty cool. Now I have the actual ages, you know, like 50 years old, 49 years old. It's a lot more readable per se. I'm happy with it. I like it. Let's go ahead and click add. So now I added that transform to my workflow. Next, I wanted to plot the histogram for the new age column. So I'm going to say back to flow. And then I'm going to come here, and then I'm going to say add analysis. And then I'm going to say histogram. And here I wanted to select the new age information. I'm going to click preview. And here we go. Now I have been able to plot my age basically. And you will notice that here the age kind of, we have actually a lot of people, a lot of patients actually range between, let's say, 50 and 55 years old. And then, you know, between 50 and 60 and so on. What I wanted to do next is I wanted to generate a summary table. So I can come here and say, could you please show me a table summary actually? And here we go. So now I have the table summary that basically show me statistical data about my pandas data frame, or my basically data. So here I have the age, basically the minimum age considered in the study is 30, maximum age is 65, and the average is around 53. Here I also have the height, I have the weight information, I have the pressure, low and high, and I also have the cholesterol level and the smoking habit and alcohol as well, and people who are active or not. Next, I wanted to sort my data frame in an ascending order and using the age column. To do that, I'm going to say go back to analysis and actually go to back the data flow. I'm going to say add analysis. And then now I wanted to simply say I wanted to select the sort. Actually, that's not in the analysis. That's going to be in the transform. Let's go back and say add transform. I'm going to say add step. And now I want, because I wanted to sort essentially rows, I need to go to the manage rows. So I'm going to say manage rows. Now I can actually perform sorting, and I need to select which column that I'm interested in to sort the data. So now I wanted to use the age to sort the data, and then I'm going to do that in an ascending order. Let's take a look before we do any preview that the age here is all over the place, right? So I have 50 and then 60, and then we go back to 40. If I do preview, here we go. What you guys see is I've been able to sort my data, again, starting from 30. If you scroll to the bottom, you should be able to see 39, and you keep going. Again, it doesn't show the entire data set, but you got the idea that now we sorted the data in an ascending order. If you're happy with it, let's go ahead and click add. Looks good. Next, I wanted to create an analysis to basically generate the bias report. To do that, I'm going to say back to data flow, and then I'm going to say add analysis, and here I'm going to generate a bias report. And basically I wanted to generate a bias report using the cholesterol column. To do that, first I need to specify which column that I'm trying to predict, basically my target column. And the target column here is going to be cardio, whether my patient has a cardiovascular disease or not. When it comes to the predicted value, I would be betting on the 0 value. And then the column that I wanted to analyze for bias is going to be here. I'm interested in the cholesterol level, so the cholesterol level. And then when it comes to the value, if you guys see here the cholesterol level, I have 1, 2 and stuff. So maybe I can go ahead and see if I have a bias, for example, towards, let's say, the 0 value. So we're gonna say maybe 0, for example, and that will be the value here. And then I'm gonna say check for bias, and that should generate a bias report for me here. And here we go. What you guys notice right now. So what you guys notice right now is basically the report here looks like it doesn't display, it's kind of unable to display. And it's telling you the computed bias metrics here are like, shows like 1, for example, which doesn't make a lot of sense. So what I could do maybe is I can go ahead and experiment here for the options for the actual cholesterol values. So please note that this is optional. So if I just remove it at all and just say check for bias, for example, here it will show me actual bias report. So there is some sort of class imbalance here of like -0.5. There is also the DPL, there is some sort of bias as well in the data, and as well in the JS, there is a little bit of bias as well, 0.029. All right, okay. Next, what I wanted to do is I wanted to scale my age, my height, my weight, the AP high and AP low using the min-max scaler. To do that, I need to go back and I need to come here and say I want to add transform, and I'm just going to say add step. And now I need to essentially do process numeric. If you guys remember, we have done that before, process numeric. I'm going to scale values, and then I'm going to say min-max scaler. And when it comes to the input data, basically I want to select the age. I also wanted to select the height. I'm going to do the weight as well. I selected the weight already. I select the height. I need to also select AP high and AP low. AP low and AP high, for example. Looks good. Minimum value is going to be 0. Maximum value is going to be 1. All looks great. Preview. And it will take some time for it to execute. Here we go. So what you guys notice is now I have been able to scale my data AP high, low, weight, and height to range between 0 and 1. Happy with it. Click add. Looks great. And then finally, right now, I need to go ahead and export that workflow to S3. To do that, I'm just going to click on add transform. And then I'm going to simply say export Amazon S3. And here I can go ahead and just run all this code. So shift enter, and it's telling me that the kernel is still starting. So basically you need to give it just some time for the kernel here to show starting. You need to give it some time until it actually starts. And once that happens, you can just go ahead and run or execute all these different cells. So let's wait until this kernel starts. And once you do that, if you guys recall, after I run all these different processing jobs, I should be able to head back and I should be able to see the actual generated file available in S3. So here we go. Now the kernel has shown idle, which is good. Now I can go ahead and run it. So shift enter on your keyboard, shift enter. Basically, I'm just going to run the entire script here, and I'm going to run the processing job. And then I'm going to stop here at the optional stage. So anything optional, I'm just going to skip it. And what you guys notice here is now the job starts, and it's basically the dots here are generating or running that processing job. So again, I'm going to pause the video, and then I'm going to be back once the processing job is complete. All right, so here we go. Now the processing job is complete and it all looks good. Let's go back and explore our data in S3. So it's gonna head back to buckets. I'm gonna go back to my SageMaker exported workflows. So let's go ahead and explore that workflow here. Check out the output, Data Wrangler. Check that out, default. And let's see if you click download and let's see if you open it up. Actually, that's the old one. Let's go ahead and open up a different one. So I'm gonna head back again. And then let's take a look at a new exported workflow. So let's go ahead and open maybe this one. And output, Data Wrangler. Again, keep going, default. And actually, let's go ahead and download that file. And let's open it up. And here we go. What you guys see here is I have been able to essentially check out here my age, gender, weight, and height, and it looks like I've been able to export that successfully. And that's about it. Please note, again, this is very important. We need to make sure that we turn off all our different instances here. So please go ahead back again, click on shutdown. It's gonna shut down all. And you need to shut down that as well. Make sure you're shutting down all the different instances until everything here is clear. And that's it. That's simply all I have for this final capstone project. I hope you guys enjoyed it. It was a very long day, but I really enjoyed it. It was tons of fun and we learned a lot. I hope you guys enjoyed this project and see you guys in future projects.